Hello crafty friends, Amanda here. Welcome to May I Scrap Lift You. This is May 12th and I am scrap lifting this wonderful layout from Briana Spors at mommy_RN on Instagram. I am continuing my path of more photos from our California home, and these are photos as we purchased the house, and this is looking out the back patio. We had the Verdugo Mountains on one side of our house, and then off of the other side of the house were the Foothill Mountains. So spectacular views all the way around. And actually also all the way around the house were all of these potted plants of different flowers and foliage, and every time we did something in the yard, we found more pots. So I'm using these 4 stamp sets. The one is from Hello Darling, the other is a background element stamp, and then the 2 that were on the bottom are retired stamp sets that I'm going to use. And then I'm showing you here that if you put one of the suction cup holders on the new Close to My Heart style ink pads, and as long as you have 3 or 4 other ink pads underneath it, the magnetic force is enough to just hold it, so you can just get the pad off the top and not have to take it apart like I did there for that green one. And then I am stamping all of these and getting them ready to cut out. They're going to be fussy cut on the Scan and Cut, and these are old leaves from a retired set. And for the Scan and Cut, you have to do a little bit of prepping, and so I just drew some lines with a pencil on the inside so that all the cuts would be together as one piece and not cut off any of the leaves. And then after it cut off the stamped images, I had it cut out some blank shapes for me. And then here again, I go ahead and stamp them using my MISTI, and by using the negative from the original cuts, it allows me to know precisely that these are going to be lined up correctly. And that's one of the things I love about the MISTI, is that if you do happen to not get all the ink on it, you can just put it right back down and you know it's going to line up. So what's left to do here is to shape all of my foliage and kind of make it have some life and interest. On her layout, Briana's layout, she has a circle pattern with circle photos cut out. And it was funny, at first I was like, oh, I could do that on the Cricut and I'll have to set it all up. And then I was like, but wait, you have nested dies in the shape of circles. So I am using the Cricut for these leaves that I'm shaping here now. And then I used stamping and fussy cutting for the other green leaves and the hearts. And then I also am using the die cut machine. You'll see later that I use some nested circles to cut the flowers out of my photos. And I'm just showing you here that I use my bone folder to press and make that line in the leaf, and then I am using the ink with a blending tool to just kind of give it some more dimension. So here are those nested circle shapes that I'm talking about, and I'm just gonna pick different ones. I tape them together sometimes just to get the frame, but I don't want the frame today. I want the full circle cut, and so I will, with all of my photos, I will pick my size circle and then tape it down just as you saw there. So here I have cut out all of my flowers except for the ones that have the back patio in it. I'm going to do a flip flap in the center of the layout for those, but I thought I needed a background to kind of give that circle feel, a base, and I really like this Hello Darling scrapbook stamp set because the flower is a multi-layer for getting interest and getting shading on all the petals. And so I'm just going around here and stamping, and I'm using Sangria ink because it matches perfectly the flowers that are there in the bottom right corner. And then the Hakuna Matata t-shirt is from a notepad that I have had for years, and I happened to pull it out of my drawer the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for doing journaling. It just has that tropical feel. So while I do the different layers with second generation stamping, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and give me a thumbs up on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. It's just something that really helps me out and doesn't cost you anything. So you can see on the different layers, you have the outline, and then you have the solid image that I'm doing second generation for the background, and that's what I'm going to do here. And then I'll go back over again with second generation, kind of the shading on the petals. And I'm doing it all in one color. You could very easily do this in different shades of any color you want. If you had like lemonade plus honey butter, you could, you know, really do a nice bright vivid yellow flower. And what I really like is you can kind of see on the blocks that these line up really well. And it's kind of like, I don't know how, when it gets into the right position, it's almost like the stamp comes in focus through the block. And that's how I've learned to be able to line these up correctly. And the center of these flowers have a nice, unique shape to them. So it's a little easier to line up the different layers as well. So again, with some pine ink, I am taking, or maybe that was, oh, I know what that was the Paprika ink, because I needed some of that color with my Birds of Paradise flowers. I did the background element stamp of the splotches, and now with the pine ink, I'm doing kind of the brush strokes, and I'm just trying to give them different directions, make sure that they're not all facing the same way, turning them this way and that. And then with the bigger splotches from the background element stamp, I'm using Harbour ink, and again just kind of filling in some gaps, but just giving some interest in the background, kind of noise as they call it. And I was gonna dry fit all of these flowers on, and then I realized that I needed more color. So I went and grabbed the 3 shades of green that I have in my shimmer brushes, Avocado, Evergreen, and I don't remember the third one. It might be, Green Apple. And so I'm just going ahead and splattering those colors on here with my Mickey Mouse piercing tool that a friend had commissioned for me. So that was really cool. It's a nice weight and it fits well in my hand. So, and besides that, who's not cheered by the bright colors of Mickey Mouse? So I've done that with the green splatters. And then as I'm bringing my photos back on here, I realized that I needed some more of that orange yellow hue. So I grabbed one more flower from the Hello Darling stamp set. And then as you can see, I'm just adding some of that yellow color to kind of give background. So after I put the pictures on, I realized that they weren't standing out enough for me. So I just measured the width of all of the different circles, and then on the Cricut went and cut circles. I actually nested the circles because you don't need the whole thing to be a 1/4 inch bigger. And so I've done all that, and then I have put adhesive on the back of all of my leaves here so that I can just turn them over and push them down. For me, this is what works. This is how I like to create, so that I go in and kind of tack them down, and then before I put this in my album, I will go ahead and finish gluing them down with the liquid glue, just to make sure that everything is more secure and isn't going to be falling out in 10 years. Because hopefully these scrapbook pages are things that my family looks back on and enjoys, kind of reliving the memories. I have this one last leaf. It was funny, I almost thought about not using it, and it's like, no, just one last leaf. So I'm showing you all those pots that are around the patio, and like I said, even in the front yard, we were digging up some things and there were pots buried in the yard. So I added my journaling about all of that. In the description below, you'll find the playlist for the May I Scrap Lift You for this month. Here's how you can connect with me. That will also be in the description under the video. Most of my tools are close to my heart. If there's anything that you're curious about, the list will be below. Blessings.